Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MTG Place podcast. I'm your host, Corey, and with me, like always, is James. How's it going?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good here. Go jump into a couple sponsors here. First off, we're brought to you by TCG Player. You can click our affiliate link on our website, mtgplace.net. Secondly, we are sponsored by Zencastr, which is an all-in-one podcast production suite that gives you studio quality audio and video without needing all the technical know-how. It records each guest locally, then uploads the crystal clear audio and video right into the suite so you have high-quality raw materials to work with. We have a discount code for 30% off if you want to try premium, and it's zen.ai/themtgplace. If you use that code, it helps us out, so thank you. And lastly, we have a Patreon. If you sign up between now and the end of the year, we're going to give out some signed cards, basic lands probably. We'll mail them to you. And that we appreciate that if you sign up because that supports us a lot.
Yep, definitely. It's very helpful for all of us that we do.
All right, so we got a episode of craziness. Brothers War is coming here. But before we do that, we got some Magic news. So the first thing is some welcome news for free-to-play players in Arena. So are you a free-to-play player in Arena?
Oh, very much so. I mean, I buy some stuff, but it's nice to not have to spend a lot of money on it. So, yeah.
Yeah, so they now changed it so you can buy basically more than one pack at a time with gold. So you can buy like 40 packs for 40,000 gold or whatever. It still comes out to the 1,000 gold per pack. But what they have now is every 8 packs you open, I think it's 8, maybe it's 10, 8 to 10 packs. I think it's 10 packs you open, you get a golden pack meter. And when you open this golden pack, you get cards that you receive a card that you don't already have in your set.
That's nice.
Yeah, and so it once you have all 4 copies of all cards from that rarity, it's replaced by gems. But if you open a card you would own, it switches to a different copy. And it's 1 in 8 chance that it'll be a mythic, which is nice. And opening those packs counts towards your wildcard progress bar, but you can't get wildcards in those packs. You only get cards that you don't already have, which is nice. So you can build your collection faster. So someone did the math on Reddit, and it ends up being roughly the same now because, like, if you were a 50% drafter, you could basically do unlimited drafts, right? If you have 50% win rate, because you can just loop drafts by winning, and you get about as many gems as you spent. So you could loop drafts. Well, now, if you're not going to draft, you can just spend all your gold on packs, and with this gold pack added to it, it now adds up to, after you buy like 80 packs, it ends up being the same drop rate for rares and wild cards. So you'll build your collection at the same pace. So if you're not going to draft, you can now just spend
which
packs.
I mean, drafting's fine, sure, but like it's not something I want to do all the time, though, you know. And I'm not huge on drafting. Like you're way more of the drafter than me, so that's kind of your thing.
Yeah, that's all I do is draft. I draft all the time.
Yeah.
But
it's nice to see the kind of incentivizing using like your gold or whatever to buy packs, especially if you're not going to draft or going to like participate in the other events that they have that you would otherwise use it for.
Yeah, and it's kind of a nice change that you can now do that, especially since like Hearthstone kind of switched to you almost have to pay for it now.
Yeah, Hearthstone basically did a 180, which is really stupid. They basically made it so you can't do anything with gold now, which is great.
Yeah, whereas Magic is now like, guess what? You can do more stuff with gold, so you don't necessarily need gems, and you can be free to play.
That's very good.
So hopefully draw more players. All right, so moving into Brothers War here. What's in a Brothers War pack is probably what we should cover here. So in every pack, you will get. Boy, they love to. at least one rare or mythic. This is set boosters. Okay.
Yeah.
A one retro artifact card, a traditional foil card, two wild cards of any rarity. This can be a Brothers War Commander card, Jumpstart Booster rares, the Transformers cards, or more retro artifacts, or retro framed like commons and uncommons. 6 commons and uncommons total between the two. A basic land or a mech basic land, an art card, and a chance for the. It says one card from the list, a token or helper card. So it's a possibility you could get a list card too.
Yeah.
Draft cards, you're gonna get a rare draft packs. You can get rare or mythic. You're gonna get a retro artifact, a basic land or a mech land, and 10 commons and 3 uncommons. And collector's boosters, you're going to get a foil card, 2 non-foil cards, an addition. These are of the retro or alt frame. 1 additional foil, 1 Transformers card, 1 traditional foil rare mythic, a non-foil borderless or extended art rare mythic, 1 non-foil extended art commander card, 1 traditional land, 2 foil uncommons, 4 foil commons, and a double-sided foil token.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, and then there's 2 commander decks. Every commander deck will have a collector's booster sample pack that comes with 1 rare or mythic and 1 foil uncommon retro artifact. The pre-release packs will be the 6 packs and a promo foil, like always. Jumpstart Brothers War packs will have, it looks like, 2 different decks themes for each color. And I think they said if you buy a bundle, you're guaranteed to get a Transformers card that's non-foil. Yes, you are.
Yep.
So if you buy a bundle, you at least will get one of the Transformer cards, and then you could get one of the packs too, which is nice.
Pretty cool. There's a lot going on here, it looks like.
Yeah, so lots of cool cards you can open with Brothers War.
Lots of things you can get.
Definitely going to be sweet.
The old bordered ones are pretty cool looking, like the Worm Coil that they show, as the example.
Yep.
Looks pretty sick. Like from when we first started playing Magic, basically, because that's how all cards looked back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fun to see. And then there's also like the stained glass ones, I believe, and there's like some other ones like that too that you can get as well, which are all very cool.
Yeah, lots of cool artwork this set. There's lots of cool stuff you can open. Seems like it's going to be a sweet set.
Yeah, these lands are really cool too, like these like mech lands or whatever they're called. Mech basic lands, like those are sick. They're of course full art, which I'm very much a fan of that.
Semi-spoiler, we didn't get Elish Norn in this set yet, so she's going to be in one of the next ones.
I want Elish Norn, man.
We did get there is a different Praetor in here though, not one of the main 5, but there's another Praetor in here, which is a new one, which is kind of cool.
That's cool.
So before we jump into doing the main set card review, we're going to talk about some of the mechanics.
Yeah, there's some new stuff, it appears.
Yeah, so the first one is prototype. So what prototype is there's basically like 2 versions of the card. You can cast it for its prototype cost, and it's like a smaller creature. So like the example they give is Phyrexian Flesh Gorger. It's like 3 for a 3/3, or you could pay 7 for a 5/5, and it still has menace, life, like ward, pay life equal to its power. So like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
The other thing is
it keeps the keywords. Yes, it's just the power and toughness that changes.
Yep.
Okay. So that's pretty good.
Yep. And then there's a new type of artifact called Power Stones, which is a artifact with tap, add a mana. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. So it's colorless mana you can only cast on artifacts. And then returning mechanics are Unearth. That's back.
Yeah. Old school from Alara. It's pretty cool to see.
And Meld is back from one of the Eldrazi sets, whatever one that was.
I can't remember. That was around that time too, though, I think.
Yeah, and so
I
like
haven't
you
seen it in a while.
get the two cards where if you have them both out, they flip over and they make one big card.
One huge car you just slam on the field.
Yeah. And then Transformers have their own keywords too, but they're just Transformer names for other keywords, basically.
Yeah. And these cards look pretty cool. This Urza Planeswalker is pretty fun.
Yeah, we'll read that when we get to it too.
We'll get into that. Yeah, he's cool though. Definitely a lot going on. A lot to talk about. So, shall we get into it?
Yeah, so again, we're going to talk about the main set only in this episode. We're going to talk about just the rares and mythics, not the commons or uncommons. And
Yep.
we're going to go in Wooburg order.
Yep. We'll be in alphabetical, starting with white, going through to green, multi artifacts, and then lands at the end. So our first card in our review set here is In the Trenches. It is 1 white for an enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. And then if you pay 5 and a white, exile target non-land permanent you don't control until In the Trenches leaves the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery and only once.
So 3-mana Anthem is good.
Yep, that's fine.
Late game, pay 6 to exile something?
Exile
like O-ring something?
something you don't want, basically. That seems a little... As O-ring's like, what, 3? It's
Yeah,
kinda,
I think it's a medium card.
yeah.
Like the fact that both abilities are on one, this is going to be a house in draft, right? It's going to be insane in draft. But in like a constructed format, I feel like it would be, if it didn't have the activate only once and activate only as a sorcery, it'd be much better.
Yeah. Or if the mana cost wasn't so high.
Right.
Because, yeah, it's definitely limited because of that.
Next up, we got Kayla's Command. It is 1 white, so 3 mana for a sorcery that has choose 2. Create a 2/2 colorless construct artifact creature token. Put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. It gains double strike until end of turn. Search your library for a basic plains card, reveal it and put it into your hand. You gain 2 life and scry 2.
Wow, those are some good choices.
I mean, for three mana,
for
that is
3,
so good.
like these are basically going off of the old commands from the what was that like?
It was a commander set. It's a commander set.
I can't remember what those are from.
Or Cryptic Command and shit was older. But.
Yeah, like those. Yeah. But yeah, 3 for getting land is good. Getting plus and getting double strike is good. Scrying 2 is fine. And gaining life's whatever, but I mean, white likes to do that, so
Yeah. So if you're playing this on turn 3, you're probably choosing get a land and make a 2/2.
Yeah, probably.
If it's late game, then you might do the other modes.
Yeah,
like
it's pretty good tempo play for sure for 3 mana. So on turn 3, looks like a good card.
And it does what you want it to do, right? Like it replaces itself with a land and gets you something. So it's value.
Yep, it's value city. That's what we like to see, and really well priced. Next up we have Kayla's Reconstruction. It costs X white, so 3 whites and an X for a sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put up to X artifact and or creature cards with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay.
So you look at 7 and put X onto the battlefield.
Yep. They have to be mana value 3 or less, though.
So, yeah, but you can build your deck around that.
Yeah, this is, I mean, which is fine for, like, things like mana rocks, stuff like that. Those are usually around that price.
So if you pay 4 for 1 3-mana card, you're losing mana. If you pay 5 for 2 3-mana cards, you're gaining mana. If you pay 6 for 3, you're getting a huge amount, like a free card.
Yeah.
So I think the more you pump into X, the better this becomes. But you also have
Yep.
to hit it. So you want to be playing in a deck with a lot of 3OS artifacts in it.
Yep. This is good for like an artifact deck, or even just a deck that has a lot of like equipment or something like that in it, or mana rocks, or something like that.
Seems playable. I think we'll see it.
I think so too. In the right deck.
Next up, we got Lauren of the Third Path. 2 and a white for a 2/1 legendary creature human artificer with vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, destroy up to one target artifact or enchantment, and it has tap. You and target opponent each draw a card. That seems really good, right?
Interesting. Yeah, that does.
So like, it's basically a Reclamation Sage with vigilance and 2 less toughness, but also can tap draw cards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just good. I mean, yeah, you have to give your opponent one, but I mean, white
Who
card draw is hard
cares?
to come by.
Usually, like in that scenario, you're going to be getting something better than your opponent is.
Right, and you probably going to activate it on their end step, so they can't use the card for a whole turn rotation anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty nice little card there. Next up, we got Mirel, Shield of Argive or Argive. I don't know. It is 3 and a white for a 3/4 legendary human soldier creature. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. Whenever Mirel, Shield of Argiv attacks, create X 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens, where X is the number of soldiers you control. So this is quite the baby generator here.
Yeah, there's consideration people have been talking about possibly seeing this being played in Modern and Death and Taxes.
Oh, for sure.
Because of the fact that it does the hate bear thing where it shuts off them being able to play stuff on your turn. Yep. And B, when it attacks, you're going to make tokens, which is going to make your board bigger too, which gives you more stuff to equip your equipment to.
Yeah, and honestly, that's one thing that Death and Taxes doesn't really have is a lot of board presence. It usually relies on the equipments and the vial to get the stuff out. So yeah, that would be quite the card.
Yeah, the only downside is it costs 4, but
yep. Usually it still
might be like a one of in there or something.
Yeah. I mean, there's decks that play Jailer and whatnot, and that costs 4. So I mean, it can be played. It's just harder to cast.
Next up, we got Rescue Retriever. It's 3 white for a 3/3 dog soldier with flash. When it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on each other soldier you control and prevent all damage that would be dealt to other attacking soldiers you control. So this is just like Soldier Tribal Commander deck, these last couple of cards here.
They really are. That's pretty good. I mean, it does cost 5, but
it's still really good because like you could play this as an instant speed, buff all of your soldiers and any damage that's dealt to them.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything. So you can do it in response to them blocking. So.
Yeah, that's very good. That is, yeah, and since it has flash, yeah, it's
yeah. You're just like, you choose your blocks. Okay, now none of my soldiers are going to get damaged, and they're all going to get buffed.
And hopefully your stuff dies now.
Yeah,
or just doesn't deal damage. Next up, we got Siege Veteran. It is 2 and a white for a 2/2 human soldier creature. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Whenever another non-token soldier you control dies, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. That seems pretty good too for soldiers.
Okay, so the first part is the beginning of combat, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So there is a card in one of the sets, I think, that might have just rotated. That was 2 mana for a 2/2 that did just that top effect.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like one of the best white weenie cards around.
Right.
And they had to nerf it in Alchemy because it was so good. Well, now, you get, for 1 more mana, you get that effect, Plus, if any
And
of your soldiers die, you get another soldier to replace it that you can then
yeah,
start stacking 1/1s onto.
that seems really good.
It seems really good. Like, so I feel like
Yeah.
white soldiers in standard is going to be insane right now.
Yeah. Well, and there was like some white weenie stuff like from like some of the other sets we did. I feel like that were really good
Yeah, and
too.
like in Dominaria, there's a soldier lord with no other soldiers in the set, basically.
Right. So
So
well,
like
there
that
you
card will
go.
be in the deck. Here you go. Now you have soldiers in this set to go with it.
This is definitely looking like a very much going to be a deck that you will see. I think because there's just so much synergy that this is giving it. Oh, is it me? Sorry.
I think so.
Next up is Soul Partition. It is 1 and a white for a instant. Exile target non-land permanent for as long as that card remains exiled. Its owner may play it. A spell cast by an opponent this way costs 2 more to cast.
So you're just exiling something from the board, and then they can recast it,
Non-land
but they have to
permanent.
pay 2 more.
It's kind of rude.
That is rude. It's kind of like a bounce spell, but you have to cast 2 more, pay 2 more.
Yeah, it's kind of
That's
funny.
annoying. Yeah, that's playable. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that can be really good in the right scenario, especially like very, very tempo. This is like a very tempo based play, but yeah, which can be very powerful. Just really put your opponent behind.
Next up, we got Tocasius's Welcome. It's 2 and a white for an enchantment. Whenever one or more creatures with mana value 3 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. More white card draw for 3 or less
Yep,
matters.
very good.
And that's already like a commander deck where you build the whole deck that costs 3 or less.
Yeah,
With Luris or something. So it's a theme already.
it's
It's another
not hard to do at all.
card you're going to put in that deck.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, like white weenies slash like 3 or less white. Anything like that is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, even constructed like standard, having this out and white weenie. A lot of the time, the thing is you run out of cards in your hand, but
Yep, that's the biggest thing that'll happen.
now you'll have a way to draw them back.
Yep, there's a couple now. It looks like. Well, that's white. Moving on to blue here. First blue card is Drafna, Founder of Latinam. It is 1 and a blue for a 2/1 legendary human artificer advisor creature. It has pay 1 and a blue, return target artifact you control to its owner's hand, and then it also has pay 3 and tap it, copy target artifact spell you control. So very nice artifact card right here.
Very cheap. So you can pay 2 and save your artifacts from being blown up because they go back to your hand, or bounce one that you want, and then the next turn pay 3 and tap this and replay it, and you can copy it on the stack and get 2 copies.
Yep, that's pretty good.
It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. This can be abused, I think, in certain decks. Definitely.
Especially if you do some stupid infinite mana loop, then it's like, okay, I make copies of every one of my artifacts.
This is a fork for that. Very, very much so. Just copy like your Worn Power Stone or something, or your Mana Vault, or one of those.
Sol Ring, whatever.
There's so many things you can copy.
Next up, we got Geology Enthusiast. 3 blue for a 2/5 creature human artificer, so 5 mana for 2/5. At the beginning of your end step, create a tapped Power Stone token. Okay. And pay 6, draw a card, and put a 1/1 counter on it. So at your end step, you're getting all these things that can't be spent to cast non-artifacts, but you can still use them on abilities and stuff. So you can just keep tapping the Power Stone tokens into drawing cards, putting things bigger.
Like I would say the 6 would be high for what it is, but the fact that you're gonna be making these tokens
Right. So like
Definitely
basically the
makes it
next
work.
turn, because you have to have 5 mana to play this, right?
Yeah.
So like basically the next turn you're going to be able to activate that effect if you have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So
Which is not bad to dump your mana if you need to. Next up we got Hercule Master Wizard. He is 1 blue for a 2/4 legendary human wizard advisor creature. At the beginning of your end step, if you've cast a non-creature spell this turn, reveal the top 5 cards of your library. For each card type among non-creature spells you've cast this turn, you may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
So if you cast an instant or sorcery, go to the top 5 and put an instant or sorcery in your hand. If you cast just an instant, do that with an instant.
Yeah.
Cast just an artifact, you can get just an artifact. Same with enchantment. That's pretty
Seems
cool.
pretty decent. Yeah. Again,
You
cost
probably
3.
Like most time, you're going to draw 1 card at least off of this.
Yeah. At the very least, at least.
Worst case, you whiff and you put 5 lands on the bottom or something, but
right.
or 5 creatures, but
which in that case, you probably want that to happen, unless you're really hurting for land or something.
Next up, we got Hercule's Final Meditation. It's 4 blue, so 7 mana for an instant. As long as it's not your turn, the spell costs 3 more to cast.
Oh god!
So it costs 10 if you don't cast it on your turn.
Jesus.
Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hands, and then end the turn.
Oh, that's why it costs 3 more to cast.
Yeah, it costs 10 if it's not your turn. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to end your turn, and everything's in everyone's hand.
Just you're done.
Yeah, you have
you do nothing.
In your hand. Your old boards in your hand, and you do nothing.
That's really funny. Very powerful. It does cost a lot, but rightfully so. Ending a full turn is a big freaking deal. And there's not many cards like that. There are a couple cards out there that do that, but not many. Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty great.
It's very interesting. I think it costs a lot, but if someone pulls it off, you're like, all right.
I mean, yeah.
At least you paid 10 mana for it. Like,
I mean, they're probably spending the whole turn to do it. They're probably stopping from someone winning the game in most cases. So there's a reason behind it. And yeah, very good. But yeah, costs a lot. Next up, we got One with the Multiverse. It is 6 blue for an enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a spell from your hand or the top of your library without paying its mana cost.
Yeah, so it's like kind of like mini omniscience, except for you could cast the top card of your deck.
Which is also pretty great.
Yeah.
Just once per turn. You just
yeah, I mean, you could still play it from your deck on other people's turns. You just only can cast for free during your turn once.
Yeah.
So that's good. I think
that's
it's basically like you have an extra card in your hand all the time.
Yeah.
Plus, you can cast something for free. It does cost 8 flipping mana, though. But if you have a way to cheat this out, like in an enchantment deck or something.
Yeah.
This could be good.
Show and tell.
Yeah, show and tell. But I mean, show and tell, then you just got to play omniscience.
Show and tell's just got omniscience, though. This is like budget omniscience.
I mean, this is better after you play everything from your hand with omniscience and have nothing else. But
yeah, exactly. But yeah, pretty decent though, all things considered.
Next up, we got Sky Strike Officer, 2 and a blue for a 2/3 human soldier with flying. Whenever it attacks, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token, and tap 3 untapped soldiers you control. Draw a card. That seems really good.
It does seem really good. Interesting that it's blue. I don't know how many times we see blue soldiers.
I don't know, but this makes soldiers, so artifact soldiers.
I mean, it does fit the artifact theme for sure. Yeah.
And there's artifacts that are soldiers for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There definitely are.
I mean, but if you have a blue-white soldier deck, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Drawing cards again is very good. So, yeah, and just tapping dudes to do it. You can draw so many cards. Like if you have like a big board. Ooh.
Yep. You play something that makes like 15 soldier tokens. I'm just gonna draw a bunch of cards.
Yes. Draw.
Like, granted, you're
Like,
probably gonna swarm at that point and win, but
yeah.
it's a win more at that. But
if they're sick, I mean, may as well tap them, right? All right. Oh, yes. A blue staple. We have Teferi, Temporal Pilgrim. Is 3 blue for a legendary planeswalker named Teferi. He comes into play with 4 loyalty counters on him. He has a constant ability of whenever you draw a card, put a loyalty counter on Teferi Temporal Pilgrim. Ew. His 0 cost is draw a card. So that automatically gives him a +1 right there. He's going to be getting lots of loyalty counters. He has a -2. Create a 2/2 blue spirit creature token with vigilance, and whenever you draw a card, pay a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So that's going to get big. And then his alt is -12. Target opponent chooses a permanent they control and returns it to its owner's hand. Then they shuffle each non-land permanent they control into its owner's library. So just board goes away.
yeah. So if you have some way to draw, 8 cards on the turn you play this, or the turn after you play this, right? Then you can -12 and basically take an opponent out of the game.
There are definitely ways to do that in blue. So yeah, this seems really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, because like even so worst case, you pay 5 and you draw a card on your turns, it's going to get a loyalty, and then you get an extra card. So it's basically you're going to get 2 loyalty every turn. So worst case, you're drawing an extra card and getting 2 loyalty on this,
which is already very good.
And then you can -2 to make your thing bigger. While you're a spirit that gets bigger when you draw cards. So
yeah, like if you're really hurting for a board, like he pretty much is a one-man band right here. I mean, he's just kind of doing everything. He gives you board, he gives you cards, and then he eventually wipes somebody out. So I mean, what more do you want?
The upside is it costs 5, so it's not like the last 2 standard Teferis that have been like really busted because they were 3 and 4 mana.
Yeah, exactly.
This is still like a game-ending card.
This is pretty good. If you build around it and they can't deal with it,
right?
This will snowball quickly out of control. So yeah, very good. Very, very typical Teferi card.
Next up, we got the Temporal Anchor. It's 3 blue, so 6 mana for a legendary artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you scry 2. Whenever you choose to put 1 or more cards on the bottom of your library while scrying, exile that many cards from the bottom of your library. During your turn, you may play cards exiled with the Temporal Anchor. So basically, when you scry, all the ones that you choose to put on the bottom are getting exiled for you to play instead.
Yeah, so it's like the opposite of what you do. Scry.
Yeah. It's good for a scry deck.
Yep, if you're scrying all the time.
I mean, worst case, though, you're still getting 1 card. You're basically drawing a card every turn.
Yeah, which is fine.
The best of the top 2, anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Definitely interesting. I'm sure it can be played in some stuff.
It would be hard to splash it though because it costs 3 blues, so it's probably gonna be like a mono blue deck. But
which you could easily make a mono blue deck around this, I would think.
Unless you have a lot of duels, then you can maybe play it in 2 colors.
All right, our final blue card is Urza's Command. Very rightful, fitting command name. It's 2 blue for an instant, and you can choose 2. Creatures you don't control get -2/-0 until end of turn. Create a tapped Power Stone token. Create a tapped 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. or scry 1, then draw a card.
Yeah, I feel like the mode I'm most likely to choose in this is to make the 0/0 because I'm probably gonna have artifacts out.
Yeah, you're just
And
gonna
then
make a
draw a card.
gigantic creature.
And then draw a card to replace it.
Yeah.
But if they do swing at you with like a bunch of weenie stuff, you could just,
just
minus the
make
board.
them take nothing,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine too.
It's a decently powerful card, and it costs only 4,
Yeah.
so it's not the worst.
I think the white one was better in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not the worst card, but it's not the best.
Yeah. Oh, that's blue.
All right, on to black. The first card here is Ashnod Flesh Mechanist. Cost 1 black for a 1/1 legendary creature human artificer with Death Touch. And when it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, create a tapped Power Stone token. And it has pay 5, exile a creature card from your graveyard, create a tapped 3/3 colorless zombie artifact creature token.
So we finally see who Ashnod is, apparently.
Yeah.
After all these years.
And it's a 1 for a 1/1 with 3 abilities that are relevant and can become good later in the game. Because you got a sack outlet and you have a way to make tokens. Like this one card seems very good for only 1.
And it has Death Touch, so it can take something out too.
Yeah.
Yeah. For 1. Seems fine.
Seems very good. I think this is the commander is pretty busted.
Oh yeah, a commander deck built around this seems very
fun. All right, I got my sack outlet. I can make zombies. I got a Death Touch blocker.
Yep, that's pretty great. Very, very, very much a black card. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Very good. Very good value, all that stuff. Like it's kind of all there. So not much more you're wishing for, that's for sure. Next we got Diabolic Intent. It's 1 and a black for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle.
Yeah, so this is a reprint. So how do you feel about Diabolic Intent being standard legal now?
Seems good.
It's card played in Commander a lot.
Yeah, rightfully so. It's literally a tutor that costs 2, and you just sack like a token.
Yep.
Do.
Or you sack something with a dice trigger. So.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, you want it to. It's literally a sack outlet.
Used to play it in my Kakusho deck.
Right. Yeah, you just kill off your Kakusho and make everybody take 5, and you gain like 30 life.
Yeah, and then you draw, and then you get your card in your hand.
Yeah. For 2 mana. It's great.
Seems good. Black's looking good.
Black is looking very good, yes.
Next up, we got Fateful Handoff, 3 and a black for a sorcery. Draw cards equal to the mana value of target artifact or creature you control. An opponent gains control of that permanent. So you gift your opponent the artifact and you draw cards.
You draw some cards.
It could be good. It could be good.
I mean, I think there's some that that could actually like be used. Like you can just like what's the artifact that that like you tap for 4 mana, but then it costs 4 to untap it. So you use it and then you gift it to them, so that's tap. They have to pay 4 to untap it. They do stuff like that. There's definitely some artifacts that can kind of hurt too.
Yeah, some dumb thing too. That's like, oh, creatures you control can't attack, and then gift it to them.
Yeah, I'm sure you can, especially in some of like the old weirder sets. I'm sure there's some stuff you can find that would work with this pretty well, actually. Next, we have Gixian Puppeteer. It is 3 and a black for a 4/3 Phyrexian Warlock creature. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. When Gixian Puppeteer dies, return another target creature card with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield.
Seems good. 4 for a 4/3. Whenever I draw my second card, you're going to lose 2 life. I gain 2. That's good. So
Yep.
I'm rewarded for drawing cards. And if you kill this, I get something back.
Yep. Which is pretty cool. Yeah. And there's plenty of ways to draw cards in black, so I think
Lots
this
of
is
ways.
pretty easy to pull off.
Yeah, seems
Pretty
like a
nice.
sweet card.
Yep. Very good.
Next up, we got Gix's Command. It is 3 black for a sorcery, so 5 mana. For choose 2, put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 creature. It gains lifelink until end of turn. Destroy each creature with power 2 or less. Return up to 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with the highest power among creatures they control. Seems good.
Yeah, it seems pretty decent.
It doesn't really
does
have a way
cost
to
5.
Yeah, and it doesn't really have a way to replace itself unless you choose to put 2 creatures back. But I mean, you could blow up everything that's weak and then the biggest thing from all your opponents.
Yeah. Like it can basically be a full-on board wipe almost. But then you still have a board because it's opponents only. Which is pretty good.
Or you can do cards back.
Or you can do like the first 2, so like you pump like one of your things that you don't want to die, and then you blow up everything else, basically.
Right. I think it's really good in like draft because you can get 2 cards back and blow up all the weakling stuff. Probably.
Yeah, this is
or
kind
their
of a bomb.
best thing.
This is kind of a bomb and sealed for sure.
I think in like a constructed format, like Commander or something, there's better cards, but it's flexible enough that I could see this being played.
Yeah, you're paying for the flexibility. Because sure, you can just play Damnation for 4,
right?
But
this
does more than that.
More situations.
Yeah. Next we have Gix Yawgmoth Praetor. So here's our Praetor, guys.
Mm-hmm.
1 black for a 3/3 legendary creature that's a Phyrexian Praetor. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life. If they do, draw a card. Then you can also pay 4 black, so 7 altogether. Discard X cards. Exile the top X cards of target opponent's library. You may play lands and cast spells from among cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so it's 3 mana for a 3/3. Incentivize all of your opponents to not attack you because they can draw cards.
Yeah.
By paying life. And then if you have 7 mana and just like a card that's dead in your hand or multiple cards, you just pitch them and play something off the top of your opponent's deck for free.
Yeah.
Seems really good.
Very good. Really cheap for what this is. Like, holy crap, that's a cheap casting cost.
Yeah, it's only 3 mana. This is going to be a kill on sight card. It's like, oh, I have
yeah, you don't want this living.
2 creatures out, play this, attack with 2 dudes, pay 2 life, draw 2 cards.
Yeah,
every one, this is just like bogus because like it gives like all of your stuff is just deal damage, draw a card, basically.
Yeah.
In like Commander format, it incentivizes people not to attack you because they want to draw cards.
Yeah. This is like an instant bolt target for every red player.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. That's definitely one of the better cards we've seen so far.
Next up, we got Hostile Negotiations. 3 and a black for an instant. Exile the top 3 cards of your library in a face-down pile. Then exile the top 3 cards of your library in another face-down pile. Look at the cards in each pile, then turn a pile of your choice face up. An opponent chooses one of the piles. Put that pile into your hand and the other in the graveyard. You lose 3 life.
Oh, so you don't know what's in the other one, huh?
You know, but the opponent only knows it's in one pile. Yeah. So they can choose the pile that you flip up and like they know what it is, or the other pile, the unknown.
That's interesting.
It's definitely a hostile negotiation.
Yeah, it is very hostile.
I kind of like that because it's like, I got 2 lands and like a bomb. Do I flip that up and let them give me the bomb, but they know it's coming, or the 3 cards that could be better,
Exactly.
or the 3 cards that could be worse.
It's like they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. I really like this. I like this a lot. This is gonna be a pain in the ass to play against. I can guarantee it.
Yeah, and if you think about it this way, like worst case, it's 4 mana draw, 3 lands, like
Yeah,
which is still good.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's better than Explosive Vegetation, which is 4 mana for 2. I mean, come on.
Except for them going to play instead of this going in your hand. But still,
that's true.
But it also puts the other pile in the graveyard, which in black there's a lot of
black likes to do that. Yeah, it's basically a free entomb.
Yeah, so then it's like if you're playing that, it's like a 6-card draw because you got stuff in your graveyard you have access to and stuff.
Right, you just dread return later or something.
Yep.
Yeah, that card's fun.
It's a sweet card.
Next we have Misery's Shadow. It is 1 in the black for a 2/2 shade creature. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. Pay 1. Misery's Shadow gets +1/+1 until end of turn.
So this is just the best version of Looming Shade we've ever seen.
Shade, right? Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Except it has like a freaking like rest in peace on it, basically.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's the best version because there's only 2 mana instead of 3. It's a 2/2, and you buff it for any color mana. It doesn't even have to be swamp.
Yeah.
And it's like a rest in peace on their creatures.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's a lot of good effects for 2
mana. A lot of utility. I feel like a lot of people aren't going to like that if that hits the field.
Next up, we got Painful Quandary. 3 black for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless they discard a card.
Oh, God.
So this is really good in like Nekusar decks.
Yes, it is.
Like, do you want to lose 5 or discard a card and lose 1?
And lose like 1 or 2. This is good against like a blue deck or something like that plays a lot of spells too.
Yep.
So you have to think about it.
Too.
Yeah. Oh my God. This basically shuts down Storm. So yeah, honestly, it does cost a lot, but it's kind of a sideboard card in a way for that.
Yeah, it's really powerful for what it does, though.
Yeah, it really is. Well, that's black. Black looks pretty good. A lot of good stuff here. The new Praetor looks sick.
Black looks good. White looks good. Black and white are
really
looking like they're going to be good.
Definitely. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff here. A lot of stuff that I think we'll probably see in decks coming up. So now we have red. Our first card in red is Brotherhood's End. It is 1 red for a sorcery. Choose 1. Brotherhood's End deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker, or destroy all artifacts with mana value 3 or less. That's pretty powerful, actually.
Yeah, but it's like a better Anger of the Gods, right? Because Anger of the Gods is 3 everything for 3. This is, if there's not any dinky creatures, you could just blow up all artifacts.
And honestly, like I was just saying earlier, like the artifacts that are 3 or less are generally like mana rocks and stuff like that. So
it's gonna hit their Sol Ring, their Arcane Signet, their Crypt, their Mana Crypt, all that garbage.
All that junk just gone. So yeah, seems pretty decent for what it is.
Next up, we got Draconic Destiny. 1 red for an enchantment aura. Enchants a creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying and haste. And pay 1 mana. This creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It's a dragon in addition to its other types. And when an enchanted creature dies, return Draconic Destiny to its owner's hand. So give your creature flying, haste, fire breathing.
Like better fire breathing. Yeah. Any color.
And if it dies, it comes back like Rancor.
Yeah.
I think this is good. I don't think it's great because it is 3 mana.
Yeah, it's not 2. Like Rancor was 2, right?
Rancor is 1.
Or is it 1? Oh God.
And it gives it +2/+0 trample.
Yeah.
So this does give you 1/1 flying and haste. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
and the fire breathing's whatever, it's okay. So I mean that
It's
would be so like because you would pay a mana for +1/+1 flying, you'd pay a
yeah,
mana for haste, you'd pay a mana for fire breathing. So you're getting the values there.
yeah, value's definitely there, and then it just comes back.
It's just it reads like a mediocre card, but I'd have to see it played to see how good it really is.
Yeah, I've personally never really been a huge fan of fire breathing. I always feel like I can use my mana for better stuff than just giving it +1 attack for a turn. It's just kind of
Yeah,
like,
I think the
eh,
main reason you would play this is that there's a lot of things you want to make flying and haste,
exactly.
just to
That's
swing
what I
over
would definitely
stuff.
play it for. The flying in haste is by far what you want on this, and like the +1/+1 is nice, sure. And then the fire breathing, in my opinion, is an afterthought. It's kind of yeah, there's that too.
Right.
And that's fine, I guess.
I don't know what scenario you need your creature to be a dragon, but I guess if you have a non-dragon
Dragon
and a
deck, maybe.
yeah, if you have a
Yeah.
non-dragon in your deck, but in your dragon deck, then maybe.
I guess
But
if you're like, you have like your mana creature or something that's in there, it could be a dragon and work with like Tempest or whatever else that has to be a dragon. But I don't know.
I think it's mediocre. I'll have to
Yeah,
see. I'll probably get beat by it a few times and think it's great, but we'll see.
that's usually how it goes, honestly. Next up we have Felden Ronam Excavator. It is 1 in red for a 2/2 legendary human artificer creature with haste. Felden Ronam Excavator can't block. Whenever Felden is dealt damage, exile that many cards from the top of your library. Choose one of them. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card.
Well, that's good.
Yep.
So it's like a what the heck is that guy? The 2 mana one that does the same thing, but you have to hit them instead.
Right.
I
Instead of
can't remember its
him
name.
being hit.
I can't remember its name, but it was like a card in standard when you played mono red for a while. But so yeah, you basically swing with this, and you get to draw a card for another whole another round.
Yep.
Because it's your next turn. So the only downside is it can't block, so you have to keep swinging with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, they'll probably just take it unless they want to block with a 7/7 and let you choose the best card out of your 7 to play next turn.
Exactly.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Mechanized Warfare. It's 1 red for an enchantment. If a red or artifact source you control will deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +1 instead. So it's like Torbrand's effect, but just on an enchantment for 3 mana.
Right. Yeah.
And it counts your artifacts, so if you have like pinging artifacts or something.
Yep. Which that's nice. Because there are a few of those. And then just like creatures and stuff like that. So it works for that too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's good, but I mean, I think there's better cards out there.
Yeah.
Like
It's just kind of,
you could just play
diminishing
Torbrand,
returns.
or you could do all your creatures have double strike instead, type of thing.
Yeah. There's better stuff you can do for 3 mana for sure. Next up we have Mishra's Command. It is X and a red. It's a sorcery. Choose 2. Choose target player. They may discard up to X cards. Then they draw a card for each card discarded this way. Or this spell deals X damage to target creature. Or this spell deals X damage to target planeswalker. Or target creature gets +X+0 and gains haste until end of turn. So there's a lot you can do with this.
So kill a creature, or kill a planeswalker, or both.
Yep.
Or buff a creature and discard your lands to draw more cards.
Yep.
I think
stuff you can't
it
cast.
could be good. I guess it depends what your average pay into it.
Yeah. Depends on what your curve is, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's flexible enough that it's worth playing.
Yeah.
Like it's good.
It's only 1x, so that's not bad.
Right. I mean, at worst case, it's like a blaze that hits a creature at a planeswalker.
Yeah, which is fine.
I mean, or it's, you don't have anything to target and you just wheel.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely works in like a Nikizar deck for something like that.
It's an interesting card. I think we'll see it played.
I think so too. It's definitely cheap enough.
Next up, we got Over the Top. 5 red for a sorcery, so 7 mana. Each player reveals a number of cards from the top of their library equal to the number of non-land permanents they control. Puts all permanent cards they revealed this way out of the battlefield. Puts the rest into their graveyard.
Oh man.
So you double your everyone's board.
Yeah.
For 7.
Quite literally.
Or could, because they could whiff and hit all like spells. But
yeah, of course. So against blue, this is good. Because they're probably not going to hit much. Against something like green, though, it's like, ooh, they probably got the upper hand.
Yeah, if you're playing this in your deck, you want a lot of big things that you're going to hit and they're not.
Yeah, so and a lot of land on top of that, too.
Seems like a medium card. This is like goes in the chaos deck if you're going to play that type of thing.
You just want to play pure chaos. It's definitely part of it. Next up, we got Tyrant of Care Ridges. It is 4 red for a dragon creature. 4/5 with flying. When Tyrant of Care Ridges enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to any target. And then it has fire breathing.
4/5 for 6, deal 4, fire breather. Seems like a vanilla dragon to me.
Pretty vanilla dragon, yeah. This seems like something you'd see in a pre-con deck, honestly.
Yeah, like
this would be like a pre-con bomb.
It's going to be good in draft and pre-release type thing, but like in constructed, I don't know how good it's going to be.
There's like in a dragon deck, there's so much.
Yeah, dragons are so many better dragons. Yeah.
Yeah, like for 6, like there's literally all of the planar chaos dragons are like that and do way more than this. So yeah, pretty middle for sure.
Next up, we got Visions of Phyrexian. It's 2 red for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't play a card from exile this turn, create a tapped Power Stone token. That's cool. So you get an extra card to look at every turn. If you decide not to play it, you get a Power Stone.
Get a Power Stone. 4 is pretty good for that, I would think.
Yeah, it's decent.
Seems pretty decent.
Play it.
Well, that's red.
Red seems medium to me. Doesn't seem that
great. pretty medium. White and black, I think, have it beat for sure. Like the Excavator's kind of cool. Mishra's Command might be good, depending on how much you put into it. Everything else is, kind of fine, I guess. So now on to green, we have our first green card is Awaken the Woods. It is X green for a sorcery. Create X 1/1 green forest dryad land creature tokens.
Sweet.
Nice.
So it's forests.
Like all the forests are coming to the fight.
Yep.
That's
well,
pretty
you create
cool.
1/1 green forest dryad land creatures. So since it's a forest land, you could tap it for green, right?
I think so. I think it's
like you're making Dryad Arbor tokens.
Yeah, it sounds like Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, so I think you can.
That's pretty sick.
Cool. Yeah,
they are, of course, because their creatures are affected by summoning sickness, but still,
right.
That seems very powerful. If that's the case,
yeah,
that's what it looks like to me.
Even if it's not, making that 2 for X 1/1s is good.
Yeah,
but to me, it seems like you'll be able to tap them for mana. So for green mana.
Yeah, that's what it looks like for sure.
Next up, we got Fade from History. 2 green for a sorcery. Each player who controls an artifact or enchantment creates a 2/2 green bear creature token. Then destroy all artifacts and enchantments.
Bye-bye.
So all artifacts and enchantments go bye-bye, and you get refunded a bear.
Yep. So it's like Beast Within on a grand scale, basically.
Yeah. Seems good.
Which, yeah, that's a pretty good removal spell for a crap ton of artifacts. Next up, this is a reprint. Fauna Shaman. This is a very good card from back in the day. It is 1 and a green for a 2/2 elf shaman creature. Pay a green and tap him. Discard a creature card. Search your library for a creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So it's basically a better Ambush Piper.
Yeah, except for it doesn't put it into play, but yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's.
But it only costs 2 instead of 4 to play. But yeah. So this is going to be standard legal now.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Some cool decks.
Get the just find all your big creatures and then play them.
Next up, we got Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia. 2 and a green for a 2/3 legendary creature, Elf Druid Scout. Tap it, add 2 mana in any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spells or activate abilities of a creature or a creature card. When you cast a creature spell with power 5 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on it and untap it.
Nice.
So 2 mana for creatures. Play something that costs 5 or more. You're going to get a 1/1 counter and get to use it again.
Yeah, so just keep using it. Yep. Really good for big mean green.
Yep. If you play the 6 CMC or more deck, this is probably something going in there.
Yep.
Seems really good.
Seems good to me. Big green's always fun to play. It's like one of my favorite styles, like when I started playing Magic. So yeah, this kind of stuff's really fun to see. Next up, we got Teething Wormlet. It is 1 green for a 1/1 worm creature. Teething Wormlet has Death Touch as long as you control 3 or more artifacts, so Metalcraft, basically. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. If this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Teething Wormlet.
Yeah, so you play an artifact. Play this for 1 mana for 1/1. Play an artifact, gain a life, get a 1/1 counter. Play many more artifacts a turn, you gain more life. Play them next turn, you get more counters and more life. Get 3, that's Death Touch. Seems good for 1 mana.
Yeah, it seems very good.
Definitely would put this in a mono green artifact deck, which is not a thing. Not really a thing right now, but I'm thinking about building it with that servo guy.
Could turn into one at this rate.
Yep. And it's a worm for you worm tribal players.
Yeah, worm tribal.
Next up, we got Titania's Command. It is 4 green for a sorcery. Choose 2. Exile target player's graveyard. You gain 1 life for each card exiled this way. Search your library for up to 2 land cards and put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Create 2 2/2 bear creature tokens. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. So it's probably best.
6? Oh man.
Cost 6 is the downside.
That's a
but lot. You could get 2 lands, but if you pay 6, you probably don't need 2 lands.
Probably
Exile not. Graveyard to gain life doesn't really matter because it's not even an instant.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to choose make 2 2/2s and you put 2 1/1s on everything. So if you don't have a board at all, you get 2 4/4s for 6, which is a medium.
Bad.
It's not bad, but it could be really good if you have a lot of creatures.
If you have a board, this is definitely good.
Yeah, just 2 1/1s and everything is good.
Yeah.
If you have doubling season, you're getting 4 bears and 4 counters on everything.
This is really good with doubling season, yes.
Yeah, when you get 4 8/8s or 6/6s or whatever the frick.
Yeah, like that. There's some value for you.
Yeah. Outside of those scenarios, though, I think it's mediocre.
It's very medium, just like how Primal Command is kind of medium too. This is very sad. At least in most cases. I'd probably rather play something else for 6 personally. All right. Next up, we have Titania, Voice of Gaia. It is 1 green for a 3/4 legendary elemental creature with reach. Whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, you gain 2 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 4 or more land cards in your graveyard and you both own and control Titania, Voice of Gaia, and a lamb named Argoth, Sanctum of Nature, Sanctum of Nature, exile them, then meld them into Titania, Gaia Incarnate, which that is over here. Titania, Gaia Incarnate is a star legendary elemental avatar creature with vigilance, reach, trample, and haste. That's a lot of keywords. Titania, Gaia Incarnate's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. When Titania enters the battlefield, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Then you can pay 3 and a green, put 4 +1/+1 counters on target land you control. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with haste. It's still a land. Hooey, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so let's start with the unmelded version. 3 for a 3/4 reach. When you play it, when your land goes to your graveyard, you gain 2 life.
That's fine if your stuff's getting destroyed, I guess.
Yeah, or if you're playing a fetch land or
yeah,
whatever,
I guess that's true. You got those.
Or you're dredging, with Crucible dealies or.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you get the land that you need for this, because the other cards are land, and you meld this, then it becomes just insane, right?
Like, oh my god, this card.
Because it's probably, because you need 4 to flip it.
Yeah.
So it's probably like a 7/7
on average.
On average, with vigilance, reach, trample, and haste, and pay 4, turn your lands into 4/4s.
Yep.
With haste. That seems really good.
Yeah. It really seems good. This is just a flat out win condition on its own. Like if you're able to flip it.
If you have both cards, it's going to be sweet.
Yep, that's a sick card. Very, very, very good.
Oh, that's it for green. What do you think of green?
Well, Titania's really good.
Yeah, I think I put it in 3rd place behind white and black.
Yeah. And of course, Fauna Shaman's a very good card, but that's reprint.
But
outside of that,
all the green cards are playable. Like
they're all very playable. Yes, I'd say the least playable is probably the command, but it still has a purpose. I'd say, so you could still play it. But yeah, it doesn't have anything that's like just total garbage, like some have been.
All right, on the multicolor here. We got Harbin Vanguard Aviator. It's a white and a blue for a 3/2 legendary creature, human soldier with flying. Whenever you attack with 5 or more soldiers, creatures you control get +1/+1 and flying until end of turn. Here we go, right here. Blue-white soldier commander.
Boom. Very good.
Now that other one that gives your soldiers flying is good. It makes soldiers.
Just create a bunch of soldiers, give them wings, they all fly. It's great.
Yep, flying soldiers. Let's go.
You saw it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, for what that does, that's very cheap and very good. So, yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Another one of these. We got Urza, Lord Protector. It is 1 white blue for a 2/4 legendary human artificer creature. Artifact, instant, and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Then you may pay 7. If you both own and control Urza Lord Protector and an artifact named the Might Stone and Weak Stone, exile them, then meld them into Urza Planeswalker. Activate only as a sorcery. So, Urza Planeswalker is, holy god, insane. I have to click on this and expand it because the print is tiny. Urza Planeswalker is a legendary Planeswalker named Urza with 7 loyalty counters on him. He has a constant ability. You may activate the loyalty abilities of Urza Planeswalker twice each turn rather than only once. His +2 is artifact, instant, and sorcery spells you cast this turn cost 2 less to cast. You gain 2 life. He has a +1. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. He has a 0. Create 2 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens. He has a -3 of exile target non-land permanent. And if that wasn't enough, he finally has an alt of -10. Artifacts and planeswalkers you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Destroy all non-land permanents. That's a lot of stuff.
He's busted, right?
He's so broken.
You're gonna win the game if this is out. You could just activating the top ability twice. Is my artifacts is the sorceries cost 4 less this turn, and I gain 4 life.
Yeah. Okay.
Or I could draw 4 cards, discard 2, create 4 1/1s, exile 2 things. That's crazy. That's on the first turn to get it out. I mean, it does cost 7 having 2 things to get it out, but
yeah,
there's a lot of hoops to jump through to get it.
1, 2, 3, 5 abilities plus a constant on top of that. It's oh my god.
Yeah, it's a lot of hoops to get it, but once you get it, it's insane. But him just as the base 3 for a 2/4 artifacts, instant sorcery spells cost 1 less. That's good.
That's very good. Yeah.
That's good. Just that is a 2/4.
Yeah.
I mean, if you play this as your commander, come on.
Yeah.
And I think the commander rules people said you can play both as the commander.
They did clarify that you can, yes.
So you could play
really
partners
fun
where it's this and the Might Stone artifact as your commanders, and then you just keep flipping it into the crazy planeswalker.
This will be a really fun deck. But yeah, you have to go through a lot to get him. But yes, if you get Urza, you just win. I mean, come on.
Yeah, if
you're not
I don't know how someone
that.
wins through this unless they have destroyed target planeswalker in their hand.
Yeah, literally just kill a planeswalker.
And even then, you're probably down 2 things because this is going to 2-for-1 you because they're probably going to exile 2 things right away.
Just right off the bat, just. Yep, Urza's very good. Shocking.
Yeah. Next up is Urza, the Prince of Krug. Or Krug, I don't know. For a 2 blue-white, 2/3 legendary creature human artificer with artifact creatures you control get +2/+2. Pay 6. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control, except it's a 1/1 soldier creature in addition to its other types. So you can copy your artifacts that become 1/1 soldiers as well. So now I have a 1/1 soldier version of Sol Ring, guys, for 6 mana.
Geez, just the artifact creatures get +2/+2. That's very good.
Yeah,
that's quite the buff for 1 card.
That's good.
That's very good. Very,
so far,
very good card.
These blue-white decks are seeming really cool.
Yeah, Azorius is kicking ass, man. Ooh, man. All right, on to Rakdos. We got Mishra, claimed by Gix. It is 2 black-red for a 3/5 legendary Phyrexian human artificer creature. Whenever you attack, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of attacking creatures. If Mishra, claimed by Gix, and a creature named Phyrexian Dragon Engine are attacking, and you both own and control them, exile them, then meld them into Mishra Lost to Phyrexia. It enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. All right. Mishra Lost to Phyrexia is a 9/9 legendary artifact Phyrexian artificer creature. Whenever Mishra lost to Phyrexia enters the battlefield or attacks, choose 3. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Mishra deals 3 damage to any target. Destroy target artifact or planeswalker. Creatures you control gain menace and trample until end of turn. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 until end of turn. Or create 2 tapped Power Stone tokens. Oh my god, that's really good.
Yeah, and you do that all while attacking.
While attacking in combat. You better think twice when you see this coming at you. There might be a lot more happening.
Yeah. So you choose 3, right? So the worst 3
Yes.
modes. Well, the 3 modes you're going to pick is probably hit for 3, blow up an artifact or planeswalker, or -1/-1 to everything. Make them discard 2 cards. Like, they're all good effects.
They're all pretty good. Even like Power Stone tokens, sure, they're fine too. I'd say that's probably the weakest, but that's mana's mana.
Right.
You know,
I mean,
especially if it's an artifact.
To give your creatures menace and trample is just a combat trick on top of this flipping. Like, now you need 2 things to block it, and they trample over everything that's swinging.
Gross.
Like, what?
Yeah, that seems fun. If you can get that off, yeah, very good.
That's crazy. I mean, just the base guy, though. 4 for a 3/5. When you attack, each opponent loses X life, you gain X life, where X is how many creatures you attacked with. That's good.
Creature-based deck, anybody?
Yeah.
Very good.
And if you get the other part, it's really good.
Oh, yeah, then you have a freaking 9/9. It's a 9/9. Like, come on. On top of all the other crap that you can do with it. Jesus. Yeah. Quite good.
Next up, we got Mishra, Tamer of Makfawa. 3 black-red for a 4/4 legendary creature, human artificer. Permanents you control have ward, sacrifice a permanent.
Oh, God.
Each artifact card in your graveyard has unearth for 1 black and a red.
Damn.
So give all your artifacts in your graveyard unearth. But the even better ability is all your permanents have ward. They have to sacrifice a permanent.
You stack a permanent to... Oh, man.
You want to target my thing? What are you going to sacrifice?
That is so rude.
We're going to immediately target this first, so they have to sack 1 thing.
Yeah. That is an instant target right there. Good luck doing it. That's nasty.
That's good. It's crazy good.
Very good card. Mishra is also very good. Shocking. All right. Next up, we got Hajar, Loyal Bodyguard. It is red-green for a 3/3 legendary human soldier creature. Sacrifice Hajar, Loyal Bodyguard. Legendary creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain indestructible until end of turn. So another way to protect your commanders or other legendary things.
Yeah, but by himself, it's 2 mana for a 3/3. That's good.
That 2 for 3 is great.
2 for a 3/3? That's good. I'd play that on turn 2.
Yeah, that's a good tempo play.
Next up, we got Sarnith Great Worm. 4 red-green for a 7/6 worm with trample. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone token.
Ooh.
All right, we got a big worm, guys.
Big worm.
Landfall, make Power Stone tokens.
Yep. And it's a trampler, too. Pretty nice.
7/6 trampler.
7.
6
well
mana.
statted, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a good card.
Or no, 6. Yeah, sorry, 6 mana.
The bomb is limited. Yeah. It costs quite a bit for the card in like a commander setting, but if you have a way to abuse that land trigger, it'd be good.
Any landfall deck, I think, would be okay with that. Next up, we got Legions to Ashes. It is 1 white-black for sorcery. Exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls and all tokens that player controls with the same name as that permanent. So it's like engineered explosives, but for names instead of cost.
Yeah, it's exile something, you get rid of all the copies of it. So
Yeah.
If someone made a bunch of copies of their thing, it's buy. Or if someone just made a bunch of soldier tokens, goodbye.
Yep. All of them go bye bye.
It's
Nice.
pretty good. It exiles, so
Quit. Yeah. And
gets rid of
indestructible
indestructible
stuff.
stuff.
Just see ya.
Like, because worst
That's
case,
really
it's
nice.
3 mana exile one thing. Like, that's still, I would play that card.
Yep.
So,
Exiling is good.
next up, we got Saheeli, Filigree Master, two red and a blue for a 3 loyalty Planeswalker Saheeli. It has +1, scry 1. You may tap an untapped artifact you control. If you do, draw a card. -2, create 2 1/1 colorless Thopter creature tokens with flying. They gain haste until end of turn. -4, you get an emblem with artifact creatures you control. Get +1/+1, and artifact spells you cast cost 1 less.
Nice.
That seems really good for an
That seems
artifact
very
deck.
good. Yep.
I'm seeing Jeskai artifact theme here.
Yeah.
Could be good.
Very cheap alt, easy to pull off. Can even maybe do it more than once if you're lucky. Yeah. And just a lot. The scry ability is nice.
Yeah, like that's nice.
And then draw it.
Create the 2 tokens to protect itself is good.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can hit the emblem a couple times, that's really good. But I mean, you're probably even just the drawing and the Thopters is good.
Yep. That's a pretty nice card. Next up, we have Deathbloom Ritualist. It is 3 black-green for a 3/5 elf warlock creature. Tap it, add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So if you allow stuff die, this is very good.
Yeah, late game, this is going to get you a bunch of mana. I don't know if it's worth paying 5 for that.
Yeah, 5's kind of
mana
a lot.
dork, but
it's a very expensive mana dork.
If you're playing like a dredgish deck or something, might be good.
Yeah, definitely. In the right situation, I think it can be pretty decent.
Next up, we got Queen Kayla Bin Krug. 1, a red and a white for a 2/3 legendary creature, human noble. With pay 4 and tap it, discard all the cards in your hand, then draw that many cards. You may choose an artifact or creature card with mana value 1. You discard it this way. Then do the same for artifact or creature cards with mana values 2 and 3, and return those to the battlefield. Activate as a sorcery.
Dang.
So pitch your hand, get 5 mana worth of, or 6 mana worth of stuff into play for 4.
It's pretty decent.
Good. But you have to have a lot of artifacts in your hand when you dump it.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely need a hand of artifacts.
Oh, artifacts or creatures. So yeah, you just need a 1, a 2, and a 3 cost thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and creatures. If it's creature based or artifact based, I think that's pretty good. Definitely. Next up, we got Tanos, the Toy Maker. It is 3 green-blue for a 3/5 legendary human artificer creature. Whenever you cast a beast or bird creature spell, you may copy it, except the copy is an artifact in addition to its other types.
All right, you got
so
beast or bird tribal
deck.
Probably going to leave one or the other, do beast or bird tribal, but
yeah, probably
mix of both would be a little weird. But you could just find ones with like really good ETBs or something.
Yeah, you could play ETB Matters or something because a lot of them do that. So, interesting deck idea.
Next up, we got Tokasia Dig Site Mentor. It is 1, a green, a white, and a blue for a 4/3 legendary creature, human artificer. Creatures you control have vigilance and tap Surveil 1. So for people that don't know, Surveil is you look at the top card of your library, you may put it in your graveyard. And then it has pay 2, green, white, blue, exile Toskia Dig Site Mentor from your graveyard. Return any number of target artifact cards with total mana value 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate as a sorcery.
Damn. So just get all your stuff back.
Well, you get
It's
10
quite
mana
the...
worth. 10 mana worth of stuff back. Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
total mana value. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you pay 8 for 10 mana of stuff back, but then when it's in play, all your creatures have vigilance and can tap to surveil. It's pretty good.
That's pretty fun, honestly. I think that's a lot of stuff that can go that this can be used for. An interesting card. All right, so that's multi. A lot of crazy stuff here in the multi cards, like the meld cards and whatnot. Oh,
Yeah, all the meld cards are insane.
those are just busted. So busted. I mean, it's Urza and Misha. What do you expect? I mean, yeah, they're gonna be busted. So yeah, multi looks great. Onto the artifacts, which I'm guessing are also gonna be pretty cool since this is Brothers War after all. First up, we got Autonomous Assembler. It is 5 for a 4/5, or you may pay the prototype cost of 1 and a white for it to be a 2/2 instead. It has Vigilance, and then you can also tap 1 and tap it. Put a +1/+1 counter on target assembly worker you control.
So you pay 5 for a 4/5 that buffs assembly workers, or 2 for a 2/2 that does that.
Mm-hmm.
That's flexible. It's pretty good.
Very flexible. Honestly, I mean, even just as a 2/2, that's great.
And there's lands that turn into assembly workers too, so you can buff those lands and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's just good because you can play 2 for a 2/2 or 5 for a 4/5.
Yeah.
Like,
I think so too.
Just having that option is the flexibility is good. Because early game got a 2/2, late game got a 4/5.
Yeah.
I think these are all going to be pretty good in like a limited setting too, because you could just play it on whichever fits your curve the best.
Yeah, I think prototype is a pretty powerful keyword. I think it's going to be pretty nice.
All right, next up we got Platoon Dispenser. 5 mana for a 4/6 artifact creature construct. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more other creatures, draw a card. Pay 3 and a white, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. And then it has Unearth for 2 white.
Nice.
That's good. Make tokens. If you have 2 or more creatures at the end step, you draw a card. So in the token deck, you're drawing cards, which is what you want.
Yep.
And you can unearth it if someone kills it to get a card for 1 time.
Yep. And you can also swing it for
swing with the 4/6. Yeah.
That's cool. Pretty good. Yeah. I like and like the fact that the unearth cost is less is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it very powerful.
The artwork's kind of creepy, but
yeah,
like, what is this thing? It's like a platoon. It's a thing dispensing a platoon, I think. But
I guess like a weird vehicle or something.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we got Steel Seraph. It is 6 for a 5/4, or you can prototype it for 1 white for a 3/3. It has flying. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains your choice of flying, vigilance, or lifelink until end of turn.
That seems really good.
That does seem really good. That's quite the
I almost feel like this is better in like a white weenie deck. You play this as a 3-drop to give one of your creatures flying, vigilance, or lifelink every turn.
Yeah, it's every combat.
3/3 flyer for 3. Like I think the 3 for a 3/3 is better than the 6 for a 5/4.
Oh, I think so too. That's quite great.
That's cool. It's a cool card.
I like that.
Next up, we got Urza's Silex. It is 3 mana for a legendary artifact. Pay 2 white and tap it, and exile Urza's Silex. Each player chooses 6 lands they control. Destroy all other permanents. Activate only as a sorcery. When Urza's Silex is put into exile from the battlefield, you may pay 2. If you do, search your library for a Planeswalker card, reveal it, and put it in your hand, then shuffle. So you board wipe everything except for 6 lands for everybody, and then you use the other 2 of the 6 lands you have left to get a Planeswalker from your deck.
Yeah.
So you're up a Planeswalker after you pull everything up.
I'm just going to find Nico Bolas or something.
or Urza or whatever.
Or
Like,
Urza.
yeah.
Like, sure. It's great. Yeah. 3. So you have to have, well, okay, 7 mana to do it in one turn.
Right.
Otherwise, 4 mana total.
Right. But I mean, you'd probably want 6 because then you could use the ability if you want to search. But if you don't care about searching, then you could just do it with 4.
Yeah. Yeah, seems pretty good though. Next up, we got Arcane Proxy. It is 7 for a 4/3 or 1 blue for a 2/1. When Arcane Proxy enters the battlefield, if you cast it, exile target instant or sorcery card with mana value less than or equal to Arcane Proxy's power from your graveyard. Copy that card. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost.
Nice.
So here's one where it actually does matter if you want to do like the bigger version or not.
Yeah, but the small version's good too because you still get something that costs 3 or less for free. For 3 for 2, or you could pay 7 and get something that costs 7 or less for free, which is going to be a powerful spell.
Very powerful.
Another cool concept, cool card.
Yep.
I like these prototype cards.
Yeah. It's just like the flexibility and like what they can do is like really interesting. For sure.
It's also interesting that the prototype is like one color. So like if you're not playing that color, you have to pay the other one, but
right, yeah.
It's kind of cool. Next up, we got Surge Engine. It costs 2 for a 3/2 artifact creature construct with Defender. It has pay a blue. This creature loses Defender and gains. This creature can't be blocked, so it becomes unblockable. 2 and a blue. It becomes blue and has base power toughness 5/4. Activate it only if it doesn't have Defender. And 4 blue. Draw 3 cards, activate it if Surge Engine is blue and only once.
Damn.
So you play 2 for a 3/2 blocker. Yeah. Then the next turn, you can make it a 3/2 unblockable. And then the next turn, you make it a 5/4 unblockable. And then the next turn, draw 3 cards.
Yeah.
Seems good.
So Arcanus, basically.
Yeah, it seems really good.
That's another, I don't know, interesting concept too, with like the kind of like level up like mechanic,
right?
With it, just pretty cool, I think. And like really easy to start, and it's like the increments aren't that bad either.
I mean, realistically, just if you have 3 mana, you
can do it right away.
Right off the bat, you have a 3/2 can't be unblockable, right? And then the next turn, you can make it a 5/4, and that's 4 turns of swinging, and someone's dead. Because unblockable 5 damage.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's very good.
That's going to be a powerhouse.
Yeah, I think so too. That's going to be hard to deal with as well, just based on its keywords. Next up, we got Terrasian Mindbreaker. It is 7 for a 6/4. Whenever for a Juggernaut artifact creature, whenever Terrasian Mindbreaker attacks, defending player mills half their library rounded up, and then it has unearthed 3 blues and 1. So then you get the other half. Well, I guess not.
It's just half. It's just half each time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's cool because it's like Ulamog's ability whenever on attack trigger for a 6/4. It's the unearth is better, I think. Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna unearth this, hit you for 6, and you mill half your deck.
Well, because it has haste, so yeah, they can't do anything about it.
Seems good.
And it attacks too, so you just have to attack with it, and they have to mill.
Yep.
So that's sick.
It's cool.
That's pretty great.
I like that card. All right, next up we got Phyrexian Fleshgorger. 7 mana for a 7/5 Phyrexian Worm, or 1 black for a 3/3 It has menace, lifelink, and ward. Pay life equal to its power.
Ooh.
So here you could pay 3 for a 3/3 menace, lifelink, ward. Pay 3 life, or 7 for a 7/5 menace, lifelink, ward. Pay 7 life. That seems really good.
That does seem pretty good. And it's
Both
got menace
modes
and
seem good.
lifelink.
Yeah, both modes seem good.
I think so too. I think the bigger one is better for sure in this case, but they're both playable.
Yeah, but there's a lot of games you might not get for 7 mana, so like
Right. So you
then
can
you play
still
it for
play it
3.
as a 3/3, which is fine. 3/3 with menace and lifelink is still great. And then yeah, the word is just they bolt themselves basically to deal with it. So
Yeah. I mean, if you do get to 7, they have to take like half their life pretty much to
a
hit
lot
that.
of damage just to deal with it. Yeah, that's pretty great. Next up, we got Razor Lash Transmogrant. It is 2 for a 3/1 artifact zombie creature. Razor Lash Transmogrant can't block. And then you can pay 4 black. Return Razor Lash Transmogrant from your graveyard to the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. This ability costs 4 less to activate if an opponent controls 4 or more non-basic lands. Interesting there. All right.
So in Commander, you might be able to keep doing it for 2.
Commander, that's pretty good. Yeah.
That's 2 for a 3/1. I can't block.
Mm-hmm. Just attack.
It's decent. It's a decent card. I don't want to say it's great, but it's decent.
The fact that it comes back is nice, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, and it does come back as a 4/2.
Yeah.
So it comes back with a 1/1 counter on it. But it can't block, kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But for 2 mana,
I never like things that can't block. Like it's just meant to just be aggro in that case. It's just like, you know.
Yeah, and I don't know how aggro zombies are, but
I don't know. Maybe it's a thing. I'm not sure.
Next up, we got Terror Ballista. 7 for a 5/3 artifact creature construct with menace. Whenever Terror Ballista attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, destroy target creature an opponent controls. And it has Unearth for 3 black.
It's pretty nice.
It's cool. You're going to swing with a menace thing, and you sacrifice your wimpy creatures to kill off bigger things.
Kill off their shit, yeah. It's target, yep, target creature. Unearth's nice too, of course. So you can do it again then.
Yeah, you can use it as a removal spell and get in for 5.
Yep. I like that. That's a fun card for sure. Next we got Transmogrant's Crown. It is 2 for an artifact that's an equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Whenever equipped creature dies, draw a card. Equip for 2 or 1 black.
That's pretty good, right? Like whenever your creature dies, draw a card.
And he gets +2 attack, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, in a mono black deck, like you're only going to equip it for 1 swamp.
Yeah, that's
or just
cheap.
a deck with black in it. It's kind of like if you have a
price.
sack outlet, you're drawing cards, so it's kind of like a skull clamp.
Like a skull clamp, not quite as good, but
yeah, not quite as good, but it buffs your attack power, so you can swing.
Yeah, the attack buff is nice.
It's not bad. It's playable.
I don't know. Oh, for sure.
It's definitely cheap enough to see it being played quite a bit.
It's definitely, it's cheap enough to play easily.
Next up, we got Artificer's Dragon. 6 mana for a 4/4 artifact creature dragon. With flying, pay a red. Artifact creatures you control get +0/+0. So artifact breathing for all your artifacts. And 3 red for Unearth It.
All right. 6 for a 4/4 flying is kind of a lot.
If you have a lot of artifact creatures, though, you could buff a lot. But I don't know if you want to do that the same turn that you play it for 6.
You play it, yeah.
It's got to survive. A lot of mana. I think it's a mediocre creature because, like, if you play on this and you want everything to get buff +1, you're going to need at least like 4 to 5 tokens for it to be good.
Yeah, you definitely need a board, and you need to have a lot of mana. Which in that case, I would think you'd be doing okay to begin with.
Right.
This is just like overkill. In that case, so it's okay, I guess.
It's one of those cards you could gift to your opponent. Like, okay, here you go. I'll draw 6. You get a 4/4
Yeah.
flyer.
this would work with that. It's not like they're gonna do anything with this. It's like, sure. All right. Next we got a Skitter Beam Battalion. It is, holy crap, 9 for a 4/4 or 3 red for a 2/2 with trample and haste. When Skitter Beam Battalion enters the battlefield, if you cast it, create 2 tokens that are copies of it. Okay, that's why it costs so much. Holy crap.
So it's 9 for 3 4/4s with trample haste, or 5 for 3 2/2s with trample haste. It's pretty good.
That's not bad. And then if you have doubling season or something like that, that's just really, really, really good.
Yeah, then you're gonna want to pay the 9, but
then you pay the 9 for sure.
Because a 2/2 trample haste is like, okay, they're just good. Like 2 isn't that much. I mean, yeah, I get 3 of them, but it's not that much for 5 mana.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a good deal because it's better than like 3 2/2s would probably cost 6 mana, but like,
yeah. Which would be more normal, I think.
I do think it's a better value to play it for 9, but then you have to get the 9 mana.
Yeah, 9 mana is a lot. Definitely.
Definitely could be good though if you have a way to like just swing in, or if you have that red black guy that whenever you attack with a bunch of things, and you're like, all right, I got 3 more things that can attack with it now.
Right. Yeah.
So. Also, that other card that gives this Unearth.
Yeah, that would be good.
Or for trample haster.
Have fun. All right. Oh, is it my go? Sorry.
I think so, yeah.
Next up is Perennial Behemoth. It is 5 for a 2/7 artifact creature that's a beast. You may play lands from your graveyard. It has Unearth 2 greens. So you get the Crucible effect here.
That's pretty good.
It's kind of cool.
Crucible effect on a 2/7.
Yeah.
Hard to kill.
That's pretty hard
Block
to
some stuff. They do kill it. You can bring it back for 2 greens just to play some lands from your graveyard that turn.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool.
It's a pretty cool card.
That's
I don't know how good it is, but it's a good, decent blocker.
Yeah. I
mean when you unearth it, you're swinging for 2, but
yeah, which is whatever. That's not why you're unearthing this.
Like you're unearthing it to play like a wasteland from your graveyard or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, Crucible's great, so I'm sure. Isn't this basically the same cost as Crucible Overworlds? I think it's around 5.
It's between 3 and 5, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so that's pretty close.
Yeah. If you play Crucible, you probably play this.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, we got Rootwire Amalgam. It's 5 for a 5/5 Golem, or 1 and a green for a 2/3. It has pay 3 green, sacrifice it, create an XX colorless Golem artifact creature token, where X is 3 times Rootwire Amalgam's power. It gains haste until end of turn. Activate as a sorcery.
Dang.
If you pay 5 for a 5/5, and then next turn pay 5 for a 15/15.
15/15.
Or you could pay 2 for a 2/3, and the next turn pay 5 for a 6/6.
6/6.
It's not bad.
Both are pretty. I mean, 5 for a 6/6 is still fine, but 5 for a 15/15 is very good.
Yeah.
That's quite good, I would say.
Yeah, with haste for that turn.
Yeah, with haste, yes, of course.
Kind of sucks you can only activate it as a sorcery. It'd be way better if you could play it as an instant. Because it's like, oh, you go to kill it? Okay, I get a bigger thing.
Right. But yeah, that's a cool ability. Yeah, and 5 for a 5/5, fine,
That's
easy,
fine, yeah.
just fine. That's not hard to do. That's a good card. It's definitely a good card. Next up, we got Simeon. I hate this word. Simeon Simulacrum. It is 3 for a 2/1. For an ape artifact creature. When Simeon enters the battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, and then it has unearth 2 green.
That's pretty good.
Nice, yeah,
Because, like,
very
worst
good.
case, you have nothing else. You're paying 3 for a 4/3. You
Yep.
can put it on itself, and then when you unearth it, you can put it on itself too,
Yep.
or something else. That's pretty
Or
good.
whatever. I mean, when you unearth it, you probably want to put it on something else, and it's not going to stay in play. But
Right. But if you needed
yeah,
to get in for 4,
I mean, if you want 4 damage, sure, but
it's pretty
pretty good card.
Next up, we got Woodcaller Automaton. It's 10 for an 8/8, or
Jeez.
4 2 green for a 3/3. When Woodcaller Automaton enters the battlefield, if you cast it, untap target land you control. It becomes a tree folk creature with haste and base power and toughness equal to Woodcaller Automaton's power and toughness. It's still a land. So you could pay 10 for an 8/8 and make one of your lands an 8/8, or 4 for a 3/3 and make one of your lands a 3/3.
Both are pretty good.
I feel like 4 for 2 3/3s is better than paying 10 mana for 2 8/8s.
Yeah.
So I paid 10 mana for something I wanted to win me the game. I don't know if 2 8/8s is going to win me the game.
16 isn't even like, the full, like 16 isn't even 20. You can't even one shot them.
Right.
If I'm paying 10 mana, I better be winning the game. Like,
right.
I'd rather play Omniscience.
Right.
Or something like that. Like, okay. 4 for the 3/3 power, that's fine, I guess.
Yeah, 2 3/3s is fine because your land would get haste, so it can swing right away.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty good. All right. Next up, we have the Might Stone and Weak Stone. It is 5 for a legendary artifact. That's a Power Stone. When the Might Stone and Weak Stone enters the battlefield, choose one. Draw 2 cards, or target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. And then you can tap it to add 2 waste. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. And then this is the other piece that's needed with Urza to turn him into the Planeswalker.
Yep. So that's pretty good, though. 5 for draw 2 cards, and it's a mana rock test for 2. Or -5/-5 on something.
Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty good.
Nice ETB.
Yeah, you can only use the mana for non-artifacts, or for artifacts, but whatever.
I mean, you're most likely playing this in an artifact deck anyways, so
right.
That's fine.
Seems good.
Yeah,
and you needed to get that old Uber Urza, so
crazy Planeswalker.
If you want that, you play it.
Yeah.
Next up, we got the Phyrexian Dragon Engine. It's 3 for a 2/2 artifact creature, Phyrexian Dragon with double strike. When it enters the battlefield from your graveyard, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. And it has Unearth for 3 red. So this is the card that pairs with the Mishra.
Yep.
So it's a cheap costing card for a 2/2 double strike. And if you unearth it, you get to draw a new hand.
Yeah. So cool. If you're not happy with your hand, then there you go.
And it's nice because if you play this early and they kill it later in the game and you need the meld, you can unearth just to swing and get that trigger to meld them. So,
yeah, that works really well for that. Next up, we have Clay Champion. It is X4 for a 2/2 artifact construct creature. Clay Champion enters the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it for each green spent to cast it. When Clay Champion enters the battlefield, choose up to 2 other target creatures you control. For each white spent to cast Clay Champion, put a +1/+1 counter on each of them. So that's interesting.
Yeah, so you could pay. So if you paid 4 and it's all green, you get a
So it turns into a 4/4.
3 an 8/8, right?
Oh, sorry, 3 plus. Oh yeah, yeah,
So
8/8. Jesus,
3. So it's an 8/8 if you just pay 4 and it's all green mana.
damn, big
But you
boy.
could pay more than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can
If
pay
you
whatever
pay
you
the
want.
X. If you paid all whites, it's a 2/2 that puts 2/1/1 counters on 2 things. Or 1/1/1 counter on 4 things. And then you can overpay if you have multiples of the 2 colors.
Yeah, that's why the X is there. Interesting.
That's an
So this
interesting
can just be
concept.
freaking massive if
Yeah,
you have the
this thing
right
could be
stuff.
massive as hell.
Just a bomb.
Like, I think this is like best in just a mono green deck because 4 for
Yeah.
an 8/8 is huge.
4/4 and 8/8, like oh my god, with literally no downside.
Right, or
You
if
just have to pay green.
late game I got 8 mana. Okay, I'm gonna get 3/1/1s for every 2 over that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy.
That's insane. This is very good in a Selesnya or green, even mono white deck if you have like a bunch of stuff to
Yeah,
put tokens on.
you're not gonna play this.
Great card.
It's basically unplayable in a deck outside of green and white, though, right? Because you're
Yeah.
not paying 4 for a 2/2.
No, that's
So you have to be playing green or white.
with like no abilities, basically.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got the Blade Coil Serpent. It's X and 6 for a 5/4 artifact creature Serpent. When it enters the battlefield, for each blue spent to cast it, draw a card. When it enters the battlefield, for each black spent to cast it, each opponent discards a card. When it enters the battlefield, for each red spent to cast it, it gets +1/+0, gains trample and haste until end of turn.
Okay.
So if you paid 6 blue, you have a 5/4 and you draw 3 cards.
Yep, that's
If you pay
nice.
6 black, you have a 5/4, each opponent discards 3 cards. If you pay 6 red, you have a 8/4 trample haste.
Yep.
And then you can overpay if you want more. I think the blue's the best one.
The blue is definitely the best.
2 mana, draw a card. The red, at least one time into it, could be sweet, just to get the swing right away.
Yeah.
And the black, I mean, unless you really need to make your opponents discard cards at that late of the game, you probably don't care.
For playing a rack deck, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, like at the point where you're casting for 6, you probably don't care how many cards your opponent has in hand unless they drew a shit ton.
Like they just drew a ton of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's best in the blue deck or a blue-red deck. I mean, in Grixis, you'd play it too. Outside of those 3 colors, it's not playable, right? Like,
nope, not at all.
I mean, because like even in mono black, you would consider it maybe like 6 for a 5/4. Each one discards 3 is not horrible.
That's fine. Yeah. Especially if you have something in play to make like they take a damage when they discard or something.
Definitely better in the blue and red deck though.
Yeah, blue red's definitely the better deck.
I mean, or if you pay 2 of each, you get all 3 abilities. So
yeah, all 3 is fine too, for sure.
Or you can overpay if you have a shit ton of mana for some reason.
That'd be a lot of mana though.
Because you're paying more than 6.
Yeah,
you got to pay groups of 2 of the same color.
I don't think there's any reason to pay more than 6 for this card, honestly. Unless you really want to draw some cards or something, like then sure, I guess. But
yeah, you could pay 8 for the 5/4, draw 4 cards.
Yeah, that'd be about the only reason, though. I think.
Right. It's pretty good. I like the flexibility of the effects.
Yeah. These 2 cards are pretty cool. I like this. I can't remember if I've really seen something.
I've never seen something like that before. No, it's kind of like choose the kicker you want.
Yeah, basically
how you want to pay for
kicker.
it. Yeah, but if you pay 2 of one color into the cost, you're going to get a bonus effect.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, those are cool. I like that. Next up, we got Cityscape Leveler. It is 8 for an 8/8 construct artifact creature. It has trample. When you cast this spell and whenever city leveler attacks, destroy up to one target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a tapped Power Stone token. It has Unearth 8.
So 8 for an 8/8. Blow something up, they get a Power Stone. Attack with it.
Yep.
Blow something up, get a Power Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Unearth it. Blow something up, get a Power Stone when you attack.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
You're removing their best thing, and you have an 8/8 Trampler.
I'd say that's pretty great. Yep. Big boy.
It's like if you play Meteor Golem in your deck, that's 7 for a 3/3, blow something up. This is just better, right? For one more
This is
mana.
way better.
Yeah. I like that card. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's like a giant construct thing just eating a town.
Yeah.
The artwork.
Freaking massive. Yeah.
Next up, we got Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter. It's 3 for a 1/2 legendary artifact creature Thopter with flash and flying. You may cast colorless spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast that spell is greater than Liberator Urza Battlethopter's power, put a +1/+1 counter on it.
Nice.
So flash, flying, cast stuff, your artifacts and colorless spells for flash, and if you play stuff that has mana more than the power of this, it gets bigger.
Yeah, which
really good.
is always going to happen basically, and then at first, so he's going to at least get a couple +1/+1 counters on it.
Yeah, so and the thing is, it's whenever you cast a spell. So like,
yeah,
if you're playing this in a not artifact deck, you still have a 1/2 flyer that gets with flash that gets
bigger.
That gets bigger when you cast things.
Yeah.
If you play an artifact deck, it's even better.
Yeah, then all your shit has flash.
Right.
Which is very good.
This seems like a really sweet card.
Yeah, that's sick. It's very good. Next up, we got Portal to Phyrexia. It is 9 for an artifact. When Portal to Phyrexia enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. At the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's a Phyrexian in addition to its other types.
Yeah, better do a lot of stuff for 9 mana.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're playing Commander and you play this, for 9 mana, you get to kill 9 creatures. That's good.
That's pretty fine, yeah.
And if it survives till your upkeep, you get a creature card back. Still doesn't win you the game, though, for 9.
Not really, no.
If you have a way to cheat it into play, though, then it's really awesome.
Yeah.
Like if you have it's like Cthulhu Ford Master or whatever, all the artifact shenanigans that let you cheat artifacts in.
Yep.
Then, okay, sack 3 creatures. Blink this, sack 3 creatures. So that's where it's good.
That would be gross.
Yeah. Is it my turn to read?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, the next up we got the Stasis Coffin. This card is interesting. 3 mana for a legendary artifact that has pay 2, tap it, exile the Stasis Coffin. You gain protection from everything until your next turn.
Okay.
So you target me with something that's going to kill me. Nope. I throw everything.
You become progenitus. You get protection from all.
Yeah. Gonna kill me. You save myself for a turn.
That's funny. I guess it's good if you're about to die.
Yeah, unless they do like a global deal 2 to everything like that.
Yeah.
Then you would still die, but
then you die. Yeah.
And you had 2.
But yeah,
if something swings on at you or something, but they know it's there is the issue. Like it's out.
That's true.
They know it's coming. They're gonna force you to proc it. Like
yep. And then they'll probably just kill you the next turn or something like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully you got something to back it up. Next up is the Stone Brain. It is 2 for a legendary artifact. Pay 2, tap it, exile the Stone Brain. Choose a card name. Search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for up to 4 cards with that name and exile them. That player shuffles, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand this way. Activate only as a sorcery. So this is literally surgical extraction and a freaking artifact that you can do. It's exile. Never mind. So it's surgical in an artifact, basically. Right?
Yeah, basically, except for it costs 4 mana instead of 0 mana.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was a
surgical. You could pay 2 life.
I had the 5
and you exile it from the graveyard. But here you could hit their hand, library, graveyard, deck,
like everywhere, basically.
It's okay. I don't like that it's 2 and then 2 to use it, so it's basically 4 mana. And you can only activate the ability at sorcery speed, which sucks as well.
Right, yeah.
It's a slow sideboard card.
Yeah, very slow. I mean, it's fine for standard, I'm sure, but
it's going to be horrible in Commander because you get rid of one thing.
Yeah. Commander is awful.
Unless
this is definitely for
persistent petitioners or something deck.
Right. Yeah, copies, right. But this is definitely for standard or something like that, I'd say.
Yeah, standard sideboard.
Yep.
Next up, we got Thran Spider. 3 mana for a 2/4 artifact spider with reach. When it enters the battlefield, you and target opponent create a tapped Power Stone token. Then it has pay 7. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I mean, I think 3 for a 2/4 is pretty good with reach.
That's fine, yeah.
I don't know if I'm ever going to activate that 7 ability. In draft, maybe, but never outside of that.
Just one artifact among them? Yeah. You can do that with so many other things for way less than 7.
Yeah, you could pay 4 mana and you probably get 2 cards.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine. That's whatever. So that's all the artifacts. That was a lot, which kind of
there's some cool artifacts, which you expect a lot of artifacts in
good
the
stuff.
So.
Yep. That Battlethopter is really cool. I really like the Clay Champion is really cool.
I like those artifacts that let you overpay and pay different colors of mana.
That's cool. These prototype ones are interesting. There's a lot of really interesting stuff going on in the artifacts. Oh yeah, that Surge engine was really cool too. The one that levels up. That's sick. I don't know, it's a lot of cool stuff. Very kind of different from what we've seen before. So,
which is good.
So now we got our lands, which this first one here is one of the meld lands that you need for
the Titania. Yeah, Titania.
This is Argoth, Sanctum of Nature. It is a just plain land. Argoth, Sanctum of Nature enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary green creature. You can tap it to add 1, or you can pay 2 green and tap it to create a 2/2 green bear creature token, then mill 3 cards. Activate only as a sorcery, and then this melds with Titania, Voice of Gaia.
Yeah, so you tap it for green. So you can replace this as a forest. I mean, it's nice that it's a land that you can make 2/2 bears with.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And the milling is going to help you fill your graveyard with more lands for the Titania when you meld it.
Yeah, because you need that for the other part.
The next land is Fortified Beachhead. It's a land. As Fortified Beachhead enters the battlefield, you may reveal a soldier card from your hand. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you reveal the soldier card this way, or you control a soldier. And it has tap, add a blue or a white. And then it has pay 5, tap it. Soldiers you control get +1/+1 until end of turn.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
That's a pretty good land. It's a dual land that doesn't enter tapped if you're playing in the soldier deck.
Yeah, and then even the buff on the land is even nice. It's 5, but if you have no other way to do it,
and
if you have a big board, that can win the game. Next up, we got Underground River, which is just a regular land. Tap it to add a waste, or tap it to add a blue or a black. Underground River deals 1 damage to you. Okay, so this is literally a pain land.
This is a reprint of there's the 4 pain lands that weren't printed in the last set are printed here. So it's, Underground River, Brushland, Land of War Wastes, and Battlefield Forge. And then Blast Zone is being reprinted here. Blast Zone enters with a charge counter on it. Tap, add a waste, and it has XX. Tap, put X charge counters on Blast Zone. Pay 3, sacrifice Blast Zone, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value equal to the number of charge counters on it. So that's a needed reprint. I don't think that's been printed in a while.
I honestly don't remember that card. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
It was printed in something, and then it was in like a commander set for artifacts.
Right. Next up is Hall of Tagsin. Just a regular plain land. Tap it to add a waste. Pay 1 and tap it, add 1 mana of any color. Or pay 4 and tap it, create a tapped Power Stone token.
Well, if you want a way to make Power Stone tokens, there you go.
Yeah. And the 1 and tap to add 1 mana of any color is kind of nice too.
Yeah, so you could filter anything.
You could filter.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then next up, we got Mishra's Foundry. Tap at a waste, and it has pay 2. Mishra's Foundry becomes a 2/2 assembly worker artifact. Creature until end of turn, still a land. And pay 1, tap it. Target attacking assembly worker gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
Awesome. That's, of course, very good.
Yep.
And that is it. That is the whole set.
Yeah. Set looks good.
But yeah, I was pretty excited about this one just based on having Mishra and Urza stuff in it. And yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah,
a lot of really cool stuff. This one I'm pretty excited to play with and whatnot. So it's going to be fun, I think.
Yeah, and remember, guys, if you're going to order any of these cards, don't forget to use our affiliate link to help support us. It's on our website, mtgplace.net. Also, reminder that our next episodes will be about the Transformers cards and the Commander cards, probably. And we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for the support, guys. We'll see you later.